evening and welcome to the Laughing Monkey Music Show. Today we are on Howie, Reeve. How are you today?
Decent, thank you. I've had a day at work, but that's okay. Yeah, mundane it was.
As it is.
But not unpleasant.
A time difference. We're talking over in the US and Howie's over in Glasgow, right?
Yeah, Scotland, yeah.
Nice, nice. How's the weather there? Is it like, not to be generic, is it actually getting, with this whole global warming and everything, is it kind of
it's cloudy and a bit cold, but it hasn't rained today. Glasgow's a city where it's wet a lot of the time. In fact, Scotland is a wet place, you know. I mean,
always grey.
Beautiful, sometimes not grey, but you know, if things were left to their own devices, it'd be almost entirely forest, you know, like pine forest.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. Well, because the weather's weird here, and as the days go on, so as I was asking the rest of the world, it feels like it's still kind of warm. All right, so you are not of the ordinary top 40 radio musician.
No,
you are super creative, and you have some really great music. I was lucky enough to be introduced to you from a fellow friend musician, and I'm excited to share you. And I hope I can turn on some people to you. Like, you know, about it, and the creative force that you have, you know, because it's not the ordinary instrument, band, guitar, because you are a bass player, singer, but you're also kind of, your sound, you know, I'm not gonna try to think of a name. I can't even think of how to describe you and do you justice. People just have to listen to you. What kind you first started like in music, like really, because you're not, was this regular pop music, or do you evolve more to this creative genre?
Like from the beginning, you mean?
Yeah, or we can kind of, that'd be full detail, but I'm just kind of curious, like, did you start out and then kind of go deeper into this creative?
Well, I remember, like, I guess my world changed when I was 14, and I always hunted out the bands that I would really like. You know, they can be a fashion. Punk exploded and they were the main bands, but I went a little bit under the surface and found some other bands that were by far my favorite. And then post-punk exploded and had a life-changing effect on me. And again, it was the slightly less famous bands. Maybe in my early 20s, I was a bit of a snob and slightly anti-rock. Like, I liked a band from 83 to 86, they existed, called Big Flame. And they were really, they almost had a dogma against the 4/4 beat, you know, but they're absolutely, you know, occasionally people will say, oh, it's a bit progressive rock what you do, and it's not, because the songs are quite short. And but there were a few post-punk bands that wrote short songs that were quite low fidelity, but really passionate and changed a lot, you know, like, so that's an influence, plus the fact, in a way, I've got a short attention span, and another way I haven't. Sometimes a sign of confidence is to stick with a thing rather than only play something for, you know, gratuitously just for 10 seconds and then change, because I like to think live that I'm quite accessible. It's not super complicated, but it isn't verse chorus ever. And that's not because I'm trying not to be that. It's just I don't write that way. Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's very interesting because how it plays, it's bass, the acoustic bass,
yeah,
and vocals pretty much. I know you play with other musicians. We can talk about that. You can go into that.
Sure.
That's the basis of which is not something people usually hear. Like, if you see one guitar, it's usually a singer with a guitar, a six string, not a string playing, and you'll use your guitar for, rhythm, for bass or tapping. You kind of use what's around you, which is really interesting. And it's not a verse chorus thing, but they really are fun songs. They're like little journeys,
Yeah, they are. And it's funny because a good friend interviewed me once and said, why bass? Why acoustic bass? And it's the simplest answer in the world. It's my instrument. I find I've got an electric bass that's broken in my girlfriend's house in France at the moment, but with the acoustic one, I just find it so expressive, whether I'm just hitting it once, one single note, or, going on and on and on. It's, I feel very emotionally connected to the sound that I can produce out of it.
It sounds to me very warm, very big and very warm. You know, it's
It
very
is. It
it's very
is.
comforting.
Yeah, I like to be. I mean, it's kind of, you need a bit of depth, a bit of warmth, a bit of brightness, and the ability to be gentle and vulnerable, but also aggressive. You know, all of those things. Yeah.
At this
Yeah.
point, so with your music being a lot more eclectic, you have your niche audience, correct? Is
Well,
it more of a challenge coming into newer people that are like used to the very basic pop songs, or like they're like, what? This is not a
well,
formula.
it generally not. I mean, occasionally people are like, "Oh, crikey, what's that?" But oof, I think I'm quite down to earth in what I do. You know, and it's. I think it's more for me. I mean, it's for other people to say as well, but it often gets described as unique, which is a different thing to strange. I mean, one of the, you know, the things I write about are things that I process personally, things that I see going on around me. Um, but they're not really esoteric. I write quite obliquely, but I care about injustice. I don't like seeing people suffer. I want a better world. You know, they're pretty. I mean, those are the easiest ones to themes to describe, but yeah, and sometimes like I'll play a place. I don't exactly have favorite places. I've toured a lot, but if you go to like Southern Europe where people respond quite emotionally, a lot of them won't understand my lyrics, but like somewhere like Lisbon where there's a lot of South American people in the audience as well, is the emotional charge of the gig is
Really?
can be really, really powerful, you know, and yeah,
That's great.
yeah, it's, I mean, the words are really important, but you can intuit the kind of emotion from it. Even, you know, you don't have to get every, you know, exact nuance sort of thing.
Well, I
Yeah.
ask because, like in the States, if you do that in certain clubs, people would be like, "Whoa," you know what I mean? I would be like, "Oh, this is great." I would sit down and you know, but some people expect a certain thing. So, but also everything outside the United States is a lot feels like a lot more open to different types of styles. You
Perhaps,
know,
and I mean, I've been touring solo since 2012, and you slowly play less gigs that you're not suited to. You know, you want to bring everybody in. I don't know, exist in a bubble, but like I just did a small tour of England, and it was 3 small, intimate, independent, open-minded places. You know, audiences of 30-ish. Yeah, and if your feet are on the ground and you're down to earth and you're sort of friendly, that counts for a lot. I mean, I played a really rough part of Glasgow. It was somebody's 18th birthday who was wheelchair bound, and his father was like a really, really kind man that everybody loved. And almost everybody there hadn't heard music like mine before, but you know, I got a lot of people coming up going, that really got to me. And you know, I mean, it's a very personal thing to say, but like a few years ago when that gig was, like my sister's health was on my mind, and everybody has something like that going on in their
right?
life where there's a loved one who's, you know, fragile, and
Yeah.
yeah, I found my own way of doing it. You know, I didn't try too hard. I don't know if that, you know, I don't mean that as a boast, but yeah,
No.
it always sort of sounds like Howie, me, you know. So yeah, but
Well, it's good music. It's like people walking, like, oh my god, it's like abrasive, like they're walking into like a death metal show or something they're not expecting. They expect to see K-pop. You know, the music is very inviting too. It's just, I'm just saying, for people that don't like change, you know.
yeah, and but it's funny because like the value system, you obviously you know what the DIY scene is.
Absolutely, I support it.
Yeah, it's the best, and you know, I mean, what goes along with that is open-mindedness, generally speaking, a generosity of spirit. You're playing places where refugees are welcome. Your sexuality isn't a big issue. You know,
Yeah.
most places are naturally quite feminist. You know, and you know, you're making friendships and connections before you go on stage, and generally speaking, my favorite kind of bills are ones where the acts are diverse, but their hearts might be fairly similar. You know what I mean? You
Yeah.
know, I mean, there's 2 people I love to play with in Japan, but one of my best friend in Japan is a ukulele player, and he plays very gentle, poppy stuff. He's gay. And he really, every concert I do with him, he brings the audience in, and there's a kind of, if he goes on before me, they're kind of soft and warm and open, and yeah, and it's kind of nice to have what he does. I mean, there's depth to it, but the surface of it is happy-ish. He doesn't do discordant, but musically we're really different, but as two people we're really compatible. And yeah, I don't get too caught up in what a genre is.
No, I love that. That's why I'm just asking. These are kind of questions, just not me, but people starting in to check you out. Be like, wait, this is so different. So I'm inviting everybody. There'll be links for all this stuff underneath the show, so please check them out.
Thank you.
What's fun is like, and I love the fact, listen to a couple of your albums, everything is cohesive, but it's also not the same.
Yeah, yeah, well, I would agree with that. I mean, I'm not off. Go on, you first. Yeah.
Well, I was saying it all fits together, but it's not the same, which is fantastic. And I love that about an artist, when you're not being so repetitive, but you're kind of doing what you want to do.
Yeah, and I mean, it's not super difficult, and it's, I don't know. I'm gonna say the next thing, and I hope it doesn't come across like hippie bullshit. No offense to hippies, but like a river flows, doesn't it? It has its own natural flow and pattern, and yeah, I just put a song together, and if it feels good, it stays that way. I mean, and you generally kind of, with the words and the music, you let them land. You don't try too hard, and they kind of find their place. So I don't really think about the music intellectually. I kind of, oh yeah, it feels right. It feels right. That's going to stay, and it might morph. It's been.
How about songwriting for you though? I'm sorry. How about songwriting coming about? So it sounds very natural. Do you have like your bass just always near you, and you're like, you get an idea, you start with playing the bass first, or a melody, or a thought of a lyric?
Most often it'll be the bass, but it's good if there's a lyric as well. It's great if it's not always, the lyrics imposed on top, or if the lyric comes, it'll change what's been written. And a little bit, like with the last proper like physical release, Andy from No Means No joined, and the songs didn't stay the same. I'd written them, but it wouldn't be a conversation if the structure and the delivery sort of remained as it was. He had a real effect on amplifying them, kind of expanding them,
challenging you a little differently too. Well, you work with a lot of artists though. Feels like you either friendly, like just jamming with them, or like you've recorded some too. You just have a couple things actually lately, doing a couple. Your last was at the Rainbow, Double
Rainbow. Yeah.
Yes. I just listened to that today actually. It was a fun thing. How'd that one come across? Like you guys together?
Well, I like it. I don't plan or strategize. I got a job every July in 2015 where I taught drama in a school in Tokyo. They paid me a wage, and they helped towards the plane fare. That meant I could afford to tour Japan. So I've toured Japan 4 times, and the second time I played in Fukuoka. My ukulele friend saw me, and he was reminded of, to me and to many, quite a few people, a uniquely special guitarist my age who lives in that area. So 2 years later, we played together on an island in an estuary. It's like, the mouth of the river where it almost becomes the sea. And the album's called Double Rainbow because we were on a ferry and it was a storm. You could actually hear thunder and see a bit of lightning. We landed on the island. 15 minutes later, it all disappeared. 2 rainbows appeared. And then I saw Kumio, I played, and then I saw Kumio play, and I was just deeply affected by him. I mean, I saw somebody unique, and it felt like to give you the honest image that I felt, it felt like an arrowhead going through life, but not oblivious of what's around it, you know. And the ukulele guy, his name's Cozy. Oh, I'll just say it as it is. He thought we were kind of, it's a contradiction in terms, but similarly unique. And we are. We had a big.
I get that because I struggled trying to figure out how to say the right phrasing and do it justice with your music and the other artists.
So really, you know, it wasn't a big plan, but the split vinyl came about because Kumio and me have a strong connection. He doesn't appear to be career minded either, you know. I mean, he doesn't push himself. He's not networking, but his talent is so huge that, you know, people come to him. Like his previous album was recorded by Jim O'Rourke, you know. And then on my side, again, like the two people that I'm collaborating with, it was just so natural. The first guitarist, Andy Kerr, No Means No, wrote to me and said, do you want to do a cover of We Are All Prostitutes by the pop group? I said yes, and we never ended up doing it. We did 3 vignettes that allude to the song. You know, we've taken that capitalism is the most barbaric of all religions line because it's good. And then I threw 6 songs at Andy and he wrote on them all, and really, you know, he's virtuosic in terms of, you know, not like going like that, but just he can come up with the emotion that's required for each thing and have a change on it. And then Cathy, my girlfriend, my partner, she plays saxophone on one song, and she's primarily an improviser. And the album opens up with there's a wheelchair lift in a place where I work and it squeaks really badly. It's like a free jazz sax player, you know, like Joe McPhee or Peter Brotzman or something. So I recorded that and she improvised with it. And yeah, I think most people wouldn't be able to tell which is the human being.
That is awesome.
So it all comes about through asking people you like or they like you, and it naturally falls into place, you know. I don't totally know, but for the next album that there will definitely be quite a few collaborations.
Well, there. Well, because it's different. I'm sorry. What's interesting is because it's not like you guys go, you know what? We all like Led Zeppelin and Aerosmith. Like, so, you know what I'm saying? Like everybody has, you guys don't have your own sound that sounds like nobody else. So to go in and collaborate with somebody else that has their own totally different sound. So for the point of reference, it's very different. And that's why it's very interesting. And it's very passionate because it's very pure. It's all, you know, commercially driven. This is all honest music.
Yeah, I mean, it just never enters my head, and it's almost a problem. Like, you know, I should push myself more, you know, in that. And I think I have to, because, you know, in these COVID times, it's really sink or swim. And I don't pretend to be able to make a living out of my music, but before COVID and before Brexit, I was playing 110 or even more gigs a year for, you know, the last 3 or 4 years, and that brings in an income. It's a very precarious way to earn money, but every
you should be able to. Your music is good enough. You know, what I've seen of your stage presence on video, obviously not in person, you know, it's very nice. It'd be a very inviting room. It just, you know, there's artists that, you know, don't have the caliber that can fill rooms around the world. So there's no reason why, you know, someone like you who's so sincere, if you just feel it.
Well, you know, you're looking for, I mean, it's just, you make so many lasting friendships, and so many things that happen on the tour teach you things, you know, like everybody's going through shit. Almost every country is going through a similar problem. And then, you know, you watch how people operate out of, I mean, I come back to this in every interview I ever do, but watching how generosity of spirit manifests, you know, I'm going to trust you. Do you want some food? You are welcome, and this sort of thing. And it's not as black and white as mainstream society is really bad, but if I come off the back of a big tour of, you know, a good few weeks, I feel fantastic. You know, it feeds you. And I would say, you know, I'm 55 now, and the last 5, 6, 7 years have been the best of my life. Not when I was 20 years old, you know, and yeah, that's a real achievement. But yeah, I'm financially insecure, that's for sure. I've got to sort that out, you know.
You gotta get yourself a manager who's a shark, so you can just continue to be the gentle giant that you are, and just play your music. You know what I mean, and not worry about that. So
Have
you
my
can keep
face
us.
put on hot dog buns or something. Yeah, yeah, no, just totally no. But you're right. I mean, I do. Yeah, you need a bit of help.
I have the same problem. I can't promote with anything. You know, it's
Say that,
hard.
sorry.
I have the same problem when it comes to promoting stuff. It feels weird. It feels uncomfortable. I'm like, I just want to talk to the artist. I just want to talk music. I want to, the promotion part doesn't feel like it's natural.
Yeah, I mean, it's like sometimes I'll see even a photo of friends where the photograph is really no, I'm not going to go down that route. But you know that there is a homogeneity coming along. Like I read an article recently about the cultural standardization of art schools. Where it's everything is becoming more well. I don't know. I mean, I can only speak as a guy who's well into his middle age, but everything looks so much more packaged now. But having said that, there's someone out there who's in their teens or early 20s who knows a lot more about, the new independent culture more than me, yeah, so I'm no elder statesman. I did find it interesting. Have you seen the Nightingales documentary?
No, not yet. No.
Well, Robert Lloyd, the singer, there's a subtext to that film, which is before Margaret Thatcher in the UK, it was much easier for a working class misfit to do music. You could go to university for free. There were various kind of unemployment courses, a thing called the Enterprise Allowance Scheme, where you could just go and learn guitar.
Right.
And it does feel like it's harder. If you don't have money, it feels like it's harder to do that sort of thing now. But yeah, not impossible, but yeah,
Well,
I mean, everything's changing, isn't it? Crikey, yeah.
it's hard. Yeah, music is not the world for most people to make money, and I would just go for music, and I do another career, and I do this because I want to support other artists, for that particular reason, because it's not easy for you guys to get out there and do this kind of stuff. What was crazy is, and let me ask you this: so
Yeah.
with Brexit, and when the show Brexit was kind of getting really hot around the time, especially when the show started, and when I talked to people about it and hearing the change, how was it affecting you like right now? Because it feels like it's such a nightmare.
Well, I mean, one of my traits is that I'm not very practical, so I haven't really addressed it yet. That there is a thing where if you're really like friends who are, like in places like Holland, if you're properly underground, the mid-scale bands are definitely going to have a problem with carnets, visas. There seems to be some get-out clause where if you can carry your stuff on your back, so really I've got a suitcase with some records
Right.
and a tuning pedal, you might get away with it. And but I'll start to tour Europe again next year. And absolutely one of my favorite countries to tour is Spain, and a visa is supposedly required. So I'll collaborate with my Spanish friends to see what that means. I can't let it get in the way.
No, but it's crazy that it's not like that you guys are making $1 billion and the countries are being stripped down. It's culturally good to have musicians from other countries and other areas coming in. It brings in more, for these countries. So to penalize the artists that clearly are working artists is not cool. It's not beneficial. I mean, it used to be really bad. I know anybody coming from Europe trying to come into America with a visa is a nightmare. It's like $5,000 or something, and then get denied, and then you get taxed for everything you do in America. I mean, it's a hard grind for a foreign band to come over to America. And now you guys have every country over in Brexit. This deal's gonna.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's just. I really think that from Margaret Thatcher onwards, Tony Blair included, that anything that didn't make money, I think Margaret Thatcher considered cultural courses, including like study of ancient language. There is some footage of her saying that this sort of thing is a luxury, and
that's awful.
The argument that you use is so reasonable, but it doesn't apply to these people. The reason for Brexit is to just protect the tax havens of the rich, and everything else masquerades as you know, some kind of patriotic getting your country back, but they're actually shitting on the flag, you know.
It's hard. It's not my country, so I will not speak for another country, but it feels like a lot of people that spoke for it, but it feels like a lot of people that spoke for it are saying, whoa, I didn't know this. Like, I made a mistake. Like, it feels like a lot of people are pulling back when they realize the bill of sale was not what they were sold.
They're getting away with lies, but they're not challenged on it. And it's, you know, to go back on a pure level where I am not out of my depth is like Double Rainbow. I've not counted up, but there's 7 or 8 or 9 nationalities on that record. And basically they're all just good people who are my friends. It's, you know, one's Italian, one's Japanese, one's me, one's French. You know, I don't know what the deal is. You know, it's just like people who like each other, helping each other. And, you know, in the DIY scene, I don't think any of us are that bothered about borders. We just love each other as people. It's
which is the most important thing. And that's probably the most rewarding and the wealthiest thing you have on that level. You are very wealthy, you know, and successful, you know, and being a human, you're being a successful human being, which is really the most important thing in the world. And you're an international human being where you have friends and you don't, there's no rules like in borders like that. And you are the ultimate creative force of yourself, of your own destiny.
I mean, when you travel on this sort of level, you're not really a tourist. And I can think of, I played a small town where there was a lot of, like, I played an old cabaret hall. I won't say the name of the town, that was dilapidated, but kind of beautiful. And after the sound check, I went and walked out, and there were a lot of it was in Japan, a lot of men just stood in the street. And it turns out it's a mining town that is no longer a mining town. And that walk after sound check was like, fuck, that could be England, that could be northern Spain, that could be Scotland, that could be, you know, the Ruhr in Germany. You kind of realize what people are going through is just universal.
And they're not probably all financially secure or got their affairs in order, but I bet you their souls are not chock full of the experience and the love that you have. You know, no one can take that.
I mean, it stops. Tim, my lovely flatmate has got his earphones on, but you're fine, aren't you, Tim? Yeah, he's lovely. I've got a really great flatmate. Yeah. It's because I'm deaf. Is it okay this loud? It's part of the, I won't show you in. What did you ask me then?
Well, I was saying that you kind of were at some level putting yourself back a little bit by saying, you know, you're not so financially, you know, you don't feel like where you are where you should be financially. But I'm saying a lot of people, that's probably 95% of the world, where they're not where they think they should be, because everyone's always telling you you're not where you're supposed to be financially every time you turn around. But no one's telling you how you need to be emotionally. No. And I'll bet you those people probably aren't as full of the brim with really good experiences and friends like that, like you have.
To be proactive, but it's funny because it kind of I'm less fucked up than I used to be, and I think one like fucked upness comes on like personal self-pity or even, you know, like national self-pity, and everybody's going through something, and every country is going through something. You know, you can go to Catalonia and see their case for independence and how passionately a lot of the Catalans feel that, and you can be in Scotland and see a similar thing. I mean, there are definite differences, but you watch people's struggles. You know, I mean, a big thing about Scottish independence is not nationalism. It's just we want away from Westminster and the cesspit it is. You know, I mean, it's a lost cause.
I think on your next tour, the way you're speaking, you should bring yourself a little diary, and I see a book coming.
Okay.
Talking about, you know, from talking to people, you know, I think it'd be a very interesting read, actually.
You've got to try and write positively. Have I lost you, Tim? Okay, right. He's lovely, my flatmate, right?
Yeah.
This room looks a lot nicer than my bedroom because I've only just moved into it, so it's a bit. But there's nothing. It's just a bare wall. So
everyone has their own things. I've had people just couches. It is nice. It is nice. I just happen to my place looks nice because it's a collection of my family's stuff, and my wife was nice enough to hang everything up because she got tired of the way I had it set. The way I had it set up was not user friendly. You know, I was just grab stuff. You know, but you know, you have family and they help you out. It's good. You know, it's really.
Yeah, absolutely.
So let me ask you this, then let's go, of course, a little bit. You're on the road a lot, you're traveling, so if it's just you or whatever, you got to have a good book with you or something, right? What are some good books you recommend? I told you we're gonna go off the track a little bit, right?
Yeah, that's good. I spent a lot of time sleeping, but on the trains or looking out the window. But good books. What have I enjoyed recently? There's do you know that Journey to the West?
I don't, but I'm always looking for a good book. So
well, there was a late 70s Japanese TV series called Monkey Magic, and it was three monsters, a Buddhist monk, and a horse that was actually a dragon, and they had to walk from China to India to get some scriptures, right? Buddhist scriptures, and it's just a romp because they keep meeting. Every chapter is a fight, but with really freakish kind of creatures. Like at one point, the strongest demon, who's a good guy, he gets lacquered because he was trying to eat baby-shaped fruit from a tree, and the tree demon just embalms him in lacquer, and he's stuck for a few months in lacquer. And it's really bizarre, but it's very, very satisfying.
I like that kind of stuff. And
the god of the wind in this book, he has bouffant eyebrows. That's a very satisfying image that he's got. Oh.
That is crazy.
In the series, young girl dress.
Yeah, Tim. No, that's all right. I've got my lovely flatmate involved, but that's flavor, isn't it?
It is. That's good.
He's the salsa in the burrito. Yeah. So,
is he?
Well, maybe. His headphones on now. Yeah. What else? Olga Tokarczuk. Do you know her? Polish writer.
I don't. That's the whole problem. Is I have not been doing a lot of reading in the past few years. Besides like music and stuff for the show. So that's why I love it. I think the viewers are gonna,
Yeah, she's got she'll Drive Your Plow Through the Bones of the Dead is like a magical realist feminist murder mystery. That's really good. Those are two that stand out.
All right, I'm not going to give you a big, huge book, Oprah book club or anything, but just kind of curious because, I asked that because like I went out a while ago to get a book. I'm like, I want a paperback because everything's on your devices. I'm like, I want to just hold something that's not lit up where I can't, plug it in.
For you. Absolutely.
And I had always had tons of books, and then in a few years, everything's on devices because it's easier and it's, but then all of a sudden it's like it's not the same. So I went to the bookstore and I'm like, I don't know what I want anymore because it's hard to read reviews. It's hard to because you're at a store and you're touching them and you look at all the books. It's so overwhelming. And I'm like, man, I got to talk to some people. Like, what are people reading? What are good books? Not the normal book. You know what I mean?
It really, really does feel good. You probably know Jonathan Franzen, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, his book Freedom, that made me weep. It's like a thick tome, but there's something that happens near the end that is so succinct and beautiful. I'm trying to read more. It's one of those things like coming back to life, isn't it? We've all got to get off the screen a bit.
I think so. I mean, that's what I'm saying. I did get a book, and it's like crazy. It's about a woman she had a cat that talks, and they're like being chased. It's like it sounds like the first story you're talking about, where the creatures are different and the characters evolve into other things. There's like a lot of tongue-in-cheek humor and irony, and it's a fun little journey. I wish I could think of the name of it now. But to that point is I'm like, I want to keep going. I know, right? I wouldn't be good at endorsing that book, would I? But I grabbed it and it sounded interesting, and I've gotten into the journey of it now. But I'm going to need more books. So I'm going. Right, well, you're on my book list now. I will be writing these down, and hopefully some other people.
2, 3, 4, 5, but it's funny the things you think you should read. Like I bought a illustrated beginner's guide to Karl Marx, and it's just too dry. You should like Marx and stuff, but 30 pages in, I think I'm really having to make myself read this.
That's the thing. When I went to the bookstore, the first thing I did was pick up all the classics that I haven't read in my hand. You're like, they're better. And you're like, I just can't. I want to go somewhere else. But you feel guilty. The first thing I picked up was those. But you can't do that. So you actually were you recording? What is your recording process? Because I know sometimes you do stuff and you do like all different fun ways of recording too.
Well, with the kind of vinyl releases, the last 3 have been recorded in a friend's recording studio flat in Glasgow. And also I've got a band in Holland that are like family called De Kift. They've been going since the 80s. They're really from the Dutch squat punk scene. They've got their own studio in a former squat in a town about 30, 40 minutes north of Amsterdam. And they let me record there extremely cheaply. It's just like they're looking after me. It's really lovely.
That's very
so
kind.
actually, on
That's
my
called
side,
a gift.
yeah, de Kift, Kift. That means it means the green eye, the envy. They're special, you know.
I was doing a pun on that. I was doing they're calling them the gift for you.
Yeah.
It is a gift for you. They give you the gift.
Yeah. I mean, God knows what will happen now with Brexit. But the last album, all of my side, was recorded in Studio de Kift, apart from the Squeaky Lift, which was recorded on my phone. But yeah, I've got an engineer friend who's really fast and likes different music to me, which is good. Yeah, I think it's quite, you know, oh, should we get a scratchy post-punk guy in? No, we'll get this guy in who's a shit-hot engineer who likes other music. So yeah, all of my side of the last one was recorded in Holland. And then, yeah, the instrumental thing that came out on Bandcamp, that was just, I recorded new instrumentals in a kitchen on my phone. Then somebody mastered it, but that was just... it's like going to the gym again. You realize you've lost your powers of concentration and you're just, and I do think those songs maybe I'll take them off Bandcamp. I'm not sure, but
really?
They'll morph into other songs and you know, there'll be collaborations.
It's a nice release. I was listening to it. It's very nice. I mean,
yeah,
and I like the fact it's, you know, you kind of doing your thing and it's kind of just instrumental, and you actually do the album art. You did the artwork on that one?
I did do that painting, yeah.
I like that. I like that.
I've started painting again, and that's a really, it gives me great satisfaction. And there's lots of ideas, and it exercises a different muscle than the music does. You know, they overlap, but it's And again, like I have an idea in mind, and it sometimes doesn't finish that way. With the painting. Yeah. Oh no, I'm glad. Thank you. I like that image too.
I loved it. I saw that, and I actually looked, and I was so happy that it was actually acknowledged and who it was, because I was going to ask you who actually did the image on that, because I love that kind of style.
The guy walking off the cliff. Yeah, that's me. Yeah.
Yeah. It actually has you saying it. It gives you credit right on it on the Bandcamp page for that. It's you know, people have to check it out.
It's really good artists as well. You know, the Double Rainbow cover is by Kumio Karachi, the guitarist on the other side, and his job, he's a painter for an architect's firm in Japan because he's geometrically quite accurate, but his paintings have a real feel. Like you can honestly see like a picture of a washing machine that he's painted, and it makes you go, oh, you know, and he does things that are a bit more fantastical than that, but he can paint a kind of seemingly mundane, you know, subject matter and just bring it to life.
Put some energy into it. All your covers though, you have what is the one where it's like the colors are more of a similar color? It's like a girl and
a monster in a bus stop with a girl.
Yes, that's a nice one too.
Yeah, I love that. That's Rocco Lombardi from Italy. I first came across him, his art. I think probably about 2014, 15. I played an olive oil mill in southern Italy. And in the bedroom was a picture of his, and I fell in love with it. And I got in touch with him, and he did the cover to album number 3 and album number 5. And because he knows me, especially by the second one, you know, the art's really personal. Like every cover, even from the very first one, the CDR, they're conversations with the artists, and my idea, their idea, and then the collaboration. And I'm always got a buzz from.
They're all great. That's the point. Is they're all great. There's not a bad cover. I stopped and I had to look at all the covers and look at like the full thing. I like listening to it. You're not really knowing where it was recorded because it's just very comfortable. You know, it could be recorded in some super posh studio, or you don't know. It's very nice and it's clean and it sounds and it feels like you're in the room. You know, it's a run. You know.
Yeah, intimacy. Yes. Yeah.
You know, I'm not your therapist.
What's that? No, but
I'm not your therapist. It's intimacy.
No, but I mean, that's like the 3 gigs I just did down in England. They were intimate. I mean, you can still be powerful. You know, you can still blast out. But I mean, really, to me, the only 2 ways of doing it with you playing would be
that nice, beautiful, intimate feeling, or unless you can rent out Red Rocks and blast out Red Rocks with a reverb on your bass.
What's
know?
Red Rocks?
Look it up. I said outside.
Oh, you mean whoa?
Yeah. With all the, that's the only other place I'd like to hear you play, with the big echo and the big sound with it.
That'd be an interesting challenge. I've been invited to play a cave in the Canary Islands. That would be good.
That would be fun.
I'll be fucking.
Those are the two I hear you as. I like the intimate, but if there is one other way to not do it, that nice sound, it would be go big with lots of sound shooting out like rocks and nature.
Yeah, I don't know what that would do to my songs. There'd be some undertones and yeah, yay.
Probably be magic. That's what it would be.
Thank you.
You know, this has been fun. I really enjoyed this.
Me too. Yeah.
I hope people are going to check you out. I'm going to encourage this. You know, I'm going to post this, and I want people to check you out. I want to have you come back again.
Yeah, it's been a lovely conversation. Thank you,
nice.
Sean. Yeah.
I hope we do a little bit differently, and let people know you. We're going to be even weirder next time. I don't know. Once I know your music, you know, this has been fantastic, and I want to thank you for being on the show.
Well, love and pleasure. Thank you. Yeah, yeah. It's nice to meet you in this sort of a way. Yeah. Yeah.
Right. It's very nice.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, cheers. Okay.
Oh, okay. There you go. Okay. So I'll cut there. Just want to say thank you. I'll let that part out there. But this has been great. I'll get it right there. I just want to thank you. I hope it was, you know, good enough, exciting enough for you, a little different.
Oh, yeah. You mean, I hope I didn't go on about myself too much.
No, I like that. That was the whole thing. It's hard because I'm introducing you to a new audience, and people like a certain pop song or certain rock song, which I like, but I also like I also like things different, like you.
Yeah.
So well, I'm trying to cross that bridge where I want to pull people into you.
Yeah. No, you're lovely. And it was good. You know, I know this bit isn't getting recorded now, but the chat we had beforehand was nice as well. And send me a little message, and within a week, I will send you some downloads, you know, of, you know, 3 or 4 of them. Yeah.
Right. That'd be awesome. Yeah. So I will edit this. Will be up next couple of weeks. I'll let you know. I'll send the link. I'll promote it and everything.
So much, Sean. Yeah.
All your stuff on it. You'll be all over the place. This will be up on obviously YouTube, and I'm actually uploading everything to Spotify right now.
Yeah.
And it'll be on actually just got up on Amazon Music and Audible.
Okay.
And well, iTunes is kind of stressing me out, so I don't. But eventually it'll be on iTunes too.
You're covering most bases, yeah.
It's everywhere. To get, you know, basically anyone can hear you. We'll be able to hear this.
Well, keep in touch. Keep in touch. It was lovely to hear from you. Yeah.
I will, and then we'll have you back again. Okay.
And so you want me to? I'll write some books down for you as well.
That would be great. I'm serious with that. Why I did that? I like to do a surprise thing to someone. I want people to like you, to fall in love with you as a person, because then you own the artist, you own the music, and it's not so generic because we're all humans. And by asking those questions, you kind of, it throws people out of that self-conscious world, and they get to see Howie also just talking about something else.
Thanks. I mean, I haven't had an interview quite like this before, and that's made it special. So thank you so much.
And people like that though. All right, but you have a good night. I know it's late. You need to sleep. You have a busy day.
Yeah, so, I don't have to get up too early, but yeah, lovely to connect. There you go.
Take care, man.
Cheers.
All right, bye.
Bye-bye, matey.
Bye-bye.
Au revoir.
Au revoir.